line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
You can feel the tension. You can cut it with a knife. It is Talladega Superspeedway here live on PTM Racing TV now with the Joe Sixpack Racing League, presented in part by Joe Sixpack Podcast. Hi, everyone, and I welcome you here tonight to the Yellowhammer 80 at Talladega Superspeedway here in downtown Talladega, Alabama. We're about to witness the Joe Sixpack Racing League crew go fighting it out with only 4 races left, this being one of them. 3 remain after this. It is all but do or die time if you want to win the championship. And tonight we are presenting a huge lineup and huge field here, to say the least. But first, take a look at our grid, take a look at our track info, track tech talk tonight. We are on the tri-oval style Talladega Superspeedway, the elongated 2.66 mile long track, the toughest and the baddest that any driver faces whenever they come out on the track and they come out to race. And the weather and the wind holding up pretty good for these next-gen Cup cars. We'll certainly see how they handle and maintain themselves as we look towards the future, and the future looking bright for them. But here on our starting gun for the pole, we'll see Anthony Garland in the 81, and rounding out to start is outside. That'll be Wayne Garland in the 84. Row 2 sees Joshua Benton in the 69, is outside. That will be David Lamaga in the 34. Row number 3 is going to be Josh Bromfield, and 12 is outside. Mike Gillenbeck in the 70. Row number 4, Wayne Dewey in the 11 is outside. John Lamaga in the 71. Row number 5, Keith Fonseca in the 61 is outside. Stephen Parker Hamilton. Row number 6, that's going to be John Humphrey in the number 4 is outside. Chris Fatke, the 27. Row number 7, well, that'll be Mr. Robert Tuiscu in the number 28 is outside. Debbie Hutchins in the 82. Row number 8 is going to be Greg Drace in the 84 is outside. Gary Wright in the number 60. Row 9, Daryl Wells, in the 45 is outside. That is Brian Wojcik in the 9. Final starters in this one's going to be Rob Lowell in the 21 is outside. Johnny Barker in the 5. In the 6, race fans, it's time to get down to business, get down and dirty. That's Talladega Superspeedway. These drivers have locked in and come from miles upon miles to fight it out. And now it comes to clashing here at Talladega Superspeedway in maybe what could be their biggest battle yet. Here they come marching their way around the track here, marching their way to the front of the tri-oval. These drivers will have to now take center stage and have to fight it out with the best and the toughest and brightest. This is where it all goes down here and now. It's going to fight to the end and hard racing beyond. We're going to see these drivers lay into it and lay down the hardwood here and now. It's time to get down to business here at Talladega Superspeedway. It's off and running. We're green flag racing. We'll bring them around the track here out of the start. Everyone staying nice and close and compact here, trying to get themselves the early advantage, the early leeway here. Looking for opportunities where they can find it and hits where they can go. They're not going to find a lot of openings out of the gate, though. They're going to have a lot more trouble figuring out how to corner in and corner down, getting through the speeds here. Again, these cars with their driving mentalities and their driving ways, they can be extremely difficult to get any speed off of. And don't think for 1 second that these drivers aren't very well aware of that. Remember, they have raced down at Daytona when they may have taken some studies off of other guys that we've seen here on the broadcast and take full note of. It's extremely difficult to get a good run off when you're on the draft line, especially on the outside. When you get a good start, you can definitely keep up with them, but later on the bottom line becomes key. But you can see those that are on the outside, they are trying to make it work up there just a slight bit. They're just scooting around all over the place trying to help each other out. And John Lamaga, the 71, going way too aggressive, loses a lot of momentum. Gives it up to the 27. Chris Fathke now moving in. A swift shot there, making a good run off on that corner. Takes full advantage of it. That's the one thing you're going to have to watch out for is, again, you can push, you can shove all you want, but again, these cars, let's just say that steering is still needing some work down there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's an onboard camera here. We're going with David Lamaga here at the 34. Right now, one of the guys that is currently looking for a season championship when all is said and done. But you can just see right there that steering, the way the valve is and the way that kind of the stem comes off onto the wheel, you can see there's a lot more movement and travel than you usually see from the normal gen cars, the Gen 6s that is. Usually they were a little bit more under control, a little more stable. These things, I've driven in them plenty of times on super speedways. I can tell you one thing right now. They are not easy to hold on, and they are extremely difficult to really master and gain traction with if you're not careful. You've got to literally lock these things in, tighten them up, bolt them down, do whatever you have to do just to make sure they don't go all over the place and definitely get out of control for you and your team. On board here tonight with one of our lone Canadians here, Wayne Dew in the 11, currently marching the field in. Brian Wilczek right just about a further spots down of him. Currently staying in 10th right now for Wilczek. He's at 17th. Got some work to do down there, that is certainly for sure. Fathke up on the outside line, trying to do something up there with that speed. Kind of a little bolstered up, little fall reference kind of machine, although I'm starting to think we're getting closer to the winter months here, my friends. I don't know where I get that from, but yeah, that could just be a thought. Got a little horror design on that thing, it looks like. Kind of a round design in there, for where you look at it from the Joshua Ben's cam here. I don't know, sure. Oh no, it looks pretty sweet, to say the least. Marching the way down across the field and through turn number 2. And it is still Anthony Garland, your race leader right now. Behind him, though, Wayne Garland in the 84, holding up the rear, keeping him in position. These drivers are going to have to be very cautious when they start getting some pushing and shoving around here. They got to really maintain grip and distance. They can't just simply let folks get too far ahead of them. They have to kind of keep things more in check and more in line. Which I know that can be easier said than done. It's extremely scary to think you're having to fight off a new car. Still a lot of testing needs to be done, a lot of more work done with it. And you're putting them on a track as already scary and bad fast as this one is. Talladega Superspeedway, times rise now, though they are showing a solid 49-second gap in between each other. So 49 seconds is their best right now, with the top speeds reaching upwards of 216 miles per hour. On their own, usually, that is pretty darn fast. Now, I believe the fastest ever set in a normal Cup car was about a 221, and that was literally on a closed circuit. But again, when you're looking at our generations now and our times now, they had to reduce the speeds down to where they had to kind of rely more on that pack draft, that kind of pack speed. And they certainly do show it, and then some. Let's go on board here with Greg Drayson. Just gonna show you how smooth you need to be to keep that car from turning too far in and around. You can see even just that little twitch, that little slight movement right there. That movement right there, that is exactly what we're talking about, folks. The cars are extremely twitchy and very hard to handle when they get to a certain edge, a certain limit. You got to be very careful about that and really keep an eye out for when they get a little too up the hill or a little too farther down than they should be. And you have to kind of redirect them down straight into the turn. So driving on the outside, well, let's just say it takes a lot of guts, but it also takes a lot of brain to make it work down there. Now on board camera here at Josh Bromfield, you can see the determination and focus in his eyes. But take a look at the right side there. Look at that time. It shows you the lap time. And also, one thing he shows you as well is gearing and the RPMs that's going through these cars right now. The RPMs head up towards the speeds of about 85 to 8600 PS RPMs when it comes to their momentum. Now you're probably wondering, okay, why does that matter, or what does that even matter? Well, when you see them get up to that kind of runoff and get that kind of speeds, that means they are really working the motors in and working the chargers up to full use and full gain. The higher you can get them up without getting them too red hot, the better your speed and momentum can carry. Now, the reason why they're currently set the way they are right now, though, is because, again, with that draft line, it kind of sets more of a precedent to stabilizing the car down and giving himself a little bit of breathing room. Some things to note here tonight: we will have a competition caution at lap 30. The yellow flag will follow between laps 25-29 here tonight to start the competition caution. We're looking at a good 80 laps here tonight, of course. The drivers had a 2 qualifying set with about 20 minutes back before we came on. They do get fast repairs. Yeah, they do get some. They don't get much, so only 2. They are unlimited on their incidences because, well, it is Talladega, so it's going to happen. Weather right now, they're looking at partly cloudy afternoon. We're at about 3:10, 15-ish on the weather right now. They're going to be in for a good night of racing. As long as they can stay ahead of the transition, stay ahead of the field, they won't have anything to worry about there. And then also tonight, the fuel rise, they're getting a max of 60%. The engine power 100, but 3 tire sets only. Now, if I'm being perfectly clear here, I don't think the tires are going to be much of a difference or make much of a difference as long as you can line up drafting and all that, which certainly is very possible, but it's extremely difficult to manage and maintain throughout this race because, again, that steering issue and that steering valve cornering really just kind of offsets everything when it comes to a big run or comes to a big motion and movement. But it looks like Keith Fonseca and old John Humphrey down here, the ally number 4, trying to make it work a little bit here, build up some speed up on the inside lane. Looks like he got a little bit of a charge coming up from Greg Drayson and Gary Wright. Now more camera here with Gary Wright here as he tries to push Drace right up there with him. And again, you don't want to separate too far from the packs here. If you get too far back, you lose a lot of momentum and use a lot of gain there. It makes for an extremely difficult move and makes for an extremely difficult race to kind of maneuver off of. Timing is everything here, and it's going to be extremely critical coming through the later half of this race. So I wouldn't expect too many big moves until we get about lap 20. I'd say that's when you're going to start seeing some guys really trying to push their luck and push their limits here. But again, fuel-wise could be something a lot of them could be in consideration with. They could be thinking, well, we know the competition caution is supposed to come out at so-and-so time, which will be about lap 25-ish. So we need to plan ahead. Do we try to go in for fuel at laps, say, 22, 21, and then go for that long-distance run to keep ahead of the field, what they have to go in, admittedly, and then hopefully for the best that when they get to that next set, that they go one more time around, then they may have a caution pop up, or they could just be doing what I'm trying to think they're doing right now, which is trying to make some moves here. Have a look at this now. The outside line's getting some help, getting a little bit of push. Looks like the 34 there, David Lamaga, wants a piece of the action. On board yet again with the Aces race. Team machine number 69, Joshua Benton. And you can see a good look at that outside line. Currently is trying to make some maneuvers off, trying to make something build up, but it's not quite gripping the same way I think he was hoping for. Car seems to just be a little too... Oh my! Watch out! Look down there! 34, David Lamaga wrecking around! And the 4 gets into it as well. Looks like I saw Chris Fathke get away from it though. I could not tell who all was involved. I think Greg Drace may have got a piece of it there. Looks like he did. John Humphrey got a big piece and a lot of hits out of that, but unfortunately I'd say the damage was more done so to the 34 David Lamaga, even though his car is saying otherwise. That thing is looking clean as a whistle. Yeah, he even got spin. Look like he didn't even take any hits there. Well, let's take a look at the PTM Instant Replay though. Let's take another look at it, see where this transpires at. This is coming out of turn number 1 and 2 is where this wreck starts up at. Hard to really say what brought up from that angle, but we'll take a look here. Looks like the 12 might have got right up to him. Looks like Lamaga brought it slightly down. Maybe a little bit of that issue with the neck coating. So a big lick there to the 34 on the right side from the 4 John Humphrey. We'll take one more look at it from his angle. John Humphrey will definitely give you a good idea just how difficult it is to even maneuver around here, or what the heck you got to do just to try to stay out of trouble with. Here's a look at it. Watch carefully. Up Fred. Lamaga spins. Humphrey tries to avoid. Gets into it. Tangles up. And Rob Tuiscu unfortunately got a piece of it as well. We'll go to his onboard camera here. We'll take a look at this one. This is where it just gets really sad and unfortunate for these guys. See Humphrey on the bottom trying to evade. Tuiscu looking for openings. He sees the wreck, he's staying up top, but can't escape the 4. Takes a hit, and I guess you could say takes one for the team. And the RL28 will head into pit road, try to get this thing fixed up a little bit, maybe get something rearranged down there. But race fans, when we come back, we're gonna let the drivers get into pit road, get things figured out. There's so much racing to go here on PTM Racing TV. Stay tuned with us and keep it real. We will be right back after this quick commercial message. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's race has been brought to you in part by Joe Six-Pack Podcast. Weekly update on league news standing, previews of upcoming races, also interviews with admins, broadcasters, painters, league owners, social media managers from all of the sim racing world. Always tune in, Joe Six-Pack Podcast, to get your fix on the daily news. So our field right now, I'm going to try to stretch back in, get this one fired back off the ground. Hard racing, hard licks, unfortunately, here in the Yellow Hammer 80. But looks like one little strategy kind of coming into play here, and that is between Greg Drace and Mike Killenbeck. Greg Drace managing to get back out despite the damage on his car, maybe saving his instant repair up for later. Might be thinking the same thing I'm thinking, which is if you could just survive out to the competition caution, maybe then that's when you want to use the instant repair. Or there's one strategy I have noticed that really comes into handy as well here, is the old run off into the distance kind of strategy. Now you're probably wondering, oh wait a minute, what the heck did you say? The run off in the distance kind of strategy is where you take the car and you go ahead after a big lick or a big hit, you go into pit road, see how much damage you got. If you can get it without having to use the instant repair, you basically go down and fix everything up more towards your way, and in turn you just only use up so much time on the clock rather than for the long term. So say I'm in pit road and I end up getting damaged up badly. I'll go and see how much I got. If I got only about 4 or 5 minutes worth of damage, I could stay in pit road for quite some time because that pit car takes quite a while to get around the track. Again, these drivers were going about 49 seconds at top speed. Their last times were nearly about 2 minutes in length just to go from point A to point B. That's plenty of time to really clean up some damage. And Greg Drake, you can see right here, this is what he's going to do. He's going to go down there. He's going to use that strategy. He's going to just basically halt the momentum for a minute. He's going to go down, let the car get cleaned up a bit and damaged up. Although that was definitely an instant repair there. That's not what I was talking about. But yeah, usually what they'll do is they'll just go in and they will, you know, try to bolster and beat out the damage on it. And it's very possible. I've done it before and came with great success. I've actually pulled off a couple of wins doing that here with Old Talladega as well as Daytona. And I've seen drivers do it plenty of times as well on even the short tracks end, but to me, it always just felt like more or less than anything that if you could do it on a track like this, you really could save yourself a lot of time and trouble, and it would work out perfectly in your favor. So here we go, race fans. We're going to bring the drivers back to the run. Hey, don't worry, that's not our internet. That's, I think, Darlin down there, unfortunately, having some troubles. Not really sure where all that problematic stuff is coming from, but seems like it's having a little bit of a troublesome shooter, if you will, down there. Getting ready to get back to the action here. Thanks for you fans coming on out as well here tonight. Appreciate you all supporting and showing up for these drivers in the show. If you do like what you see and you do want to support the show for these guys and more, they will be returning with us next season. So be sure to hit that subscribe button here on Facebook. Head over our Facebook and like and follow us up there. YouTube-wise, subscribe here on PTM Racing TV so you never miss a beat. So share the stream around as well. Get this one out as many people as you can. Let the folks know at home. Joe Sixpack is on the hunt, and we're still out to crown a champion. Here we go. The green flag is out, and it's time to get back down to business. Leading them down off the charts here. Drivers will lead them back off for the lanes and to the stretches. There they go. Everyone looking for some momentum early. They're going to find a lot of momentum on that outside. Mike Gillenbeck going to be left high and dry. If they can get a runoff on the back straightaway, he's left up there. He needs help from the guys in the bottom lane or he's going to lose his lead rather quickly. And Anthony Garland's doing exactly that despite the troubles with the internet. Got to be careful down there. That internet connection is extremely fragile, and especially if you got a car like this, that's even more fragile when it comes to these kind of speeds. One wrong move is all it takes. They're just going to have to watch them down there and really and the drivers are going to know that they're going to have to make a call on them later whether or not they'll be able to continue. The officials are watching every single part of this track and every single moment that happens here. So we know for sure that if they're not careful, they can get themselves into a little bit of trouble down there. But of course, this league obviously taking good care of themselves as well as taking care of their crews and everything. Want to make sure they only provide the best and the fastest of the racing around for the sim racers in general. Uh-oh, and look out, Lomaga gets a piece of the 28 of Tuisco, and they wreck him right out of turn 3. Huge wreck ensuing out of 3 and 4. Big caution out, and the yellow flag flies, and we got one completely upside down. Fonseca not able to get the car and take a set and relax down there. He hammers hard. Trying to bring it back on all 4 wheels. Can't seem to get it back down there. And he'll have to take the ever worse return policy, which is the towing. What a hard lick here. Let's take a look at the replay here. And obviously you can see what happened was kind of pretty telling here when they were coming around out of turn 3. Watch Twisku. Thought he may have had a little opening, but gets tagged there from Lamaga. Lamaga gets a piece of him. The whole crew is behind him. Scatter and crash and wreck and bash. And then next thing you know, ouch. You get a piece for yourself there. Look at 61. Oh, man. Look at the poor 61, man. He just could not get out of that mess. He got turned sideways, flipped harder and around, and just could not get himself out of that whatsoever. Let's take a look at the onboard camera here of Lamaga. Just gives you a good idea here. He builds up a lot of speed, and Twisku backed off slowly somewhat there, but you know, again, when you're in that speed and in that circumstance, there's not a whole lot of room to be making those kind of mistakes here. Pretty much end up pile driving most of the field around, and that is a tough break for everyone involved, obviously, but now they're going to have to try to regroup and re-strategize, because that strategy, what they were probably going off, went completely out the window. So our drivers will now have to line back up in position here, get settled back down onto the track. Got a little of a rough shot, if you will, for some trying to hang in there. Makes you kind of wonder as well, you know, just how far do these drivers go to push themselves not only to the limits, but also to push these cars to their fullest and their maximum potential. It's kind of hard to really guess or secondhand that, because when you're looking at things from every angle and every which way to Sunday, these drivers are really in a kind of a rough shot. Again, they are not running with trucks, they're not running with Xfinity cars, whereas they can drive pretty much a little further back and use a little help from the teams. This is pretty much go hard. It's go hard 24/7, and pretty much the only way to stay in the pack is to stay in with the draft. And sometimes to make a move off, it's really just kind of hopeless, because it's really, you don't have any help or anything going unless you have someone kind of working with your way on the outside or the inside, depending on how you look at it. It's extremely delicate balance, and it's very tough to really keep in mind and really strengthen their numbers on. But again, if they can get it down and they can get it done, it makes for some great racing. I'm just not sure, without a little bit extra speeds, how it really works with the super speedways. Because I always felt like with these kind of cars and these kind of runs, you need more speed to kind of keep things a little more interesting. You can't keep your speeds up with these things. But hey, I could be completely dead wrong there. I couldn't tell you for sure. So now we're going to bring everyone back into position and back up to stuff. Drivers will lead them off the charges here. Get ready to fire them off yet again. It's going to be interesting to see what goes down on this next restart. We saw where drivers were getting good jumps and good starts, but they also got a little bit comprehensive and a little bit all over the place here when they got going even further in. Will that happen again, or can they keep their distance and maintain the balance? There is a fine line between balance and control, and I think these drivers are putting that to the absolute test here. By the way, race fans, just a little heads up for you as well. Found this out earlier today before we were going live, but we will have a little throwback scheme next week. So take these schemes in for all you want and look at how sweet they look now. But come next week, you may see some schemes in there that you haven't seen in quite some time. So stay tuned. All right, so it looks like we're about ready to reach competition caution. They'll do a couple more laps around, and then the competition caution will fly, and then from there, well, anybody's guess from there what happens next. Field centering back or getting ready for the charge. Off the green flag restart here, everyone trying to gain into position. Looks like a lot of guys having us, and gals I should say as well. We got Debbie Hutchins down there currently just trying to find a little bit of a rhythm section, find a little bit of game where they can go from there. That seems to be the kind of the ideal line here, is build up speed later and go for the run early on. Down across the back straightaway here, everyone fielding them down and around town they go. Now the runs come off and come fairly clean. As a 69 Joshua Benton, maybe looking to build a move off Anthony Garland. Garland earlier on was extremely protective of the bottom line, so you know he's going to have to go to the outside unless he wants to try to do what Umaga did earlier and punch him out of the way. Yeah, I didn't say bump and run, I said punch him. Because again, these things, it don't matter how many times you bump and run them, you're not going to get them out of the way. You got to punch them out of the way at this point. I will say though, these cars do take quite a bit of damage. They can take quite a bit of damage, so they are pretty good when it comes to that kind of racing. Coming around track here, a little bobble there by Wayne Dewey. Dewey now moving his charge back up. Started 7th, now moved back into 9th as John Humphrey, the number 4 Ally driver, trying to get the Chevrolet Camaro a little bit more gain, a little bit more boost. But he's going to fall short yet again. And again, it really all bounds down to the fact that he has no drafting partner. Without that drafting partner, it does not help you at all. It hurts you more than anything. And Debbie Hutchins just exploits it. Coming around that corner. Looking up top, though. Back up to the front we go. Benton and Garland starting to make a little bit of a headway here. Garland maybe trying to get Benton, Wayne Garland that is, to move to the outside and then pair up with family member Anthony. The Garland boys will have their hands full because right now, currently, they're dealing with Joshua Ben right in between them. Hoping maybe for a little bit of a break or some kind of opening, if you will. Mike Gillen back here, the now the number 70 Ford Mustang, currently in top 5. Started back in 5th, currently in the 4th spot, only up 1. Johnny Barker, the number 6, one of the only Toyota Camry drivers out there other than Anthony Garland, who currently is your race leader, really out here trying to muscle their way around, trying to make something work out of this place. Now, a lot of people have asked me, and I've been asked before, is there any difference between the 3 Gens Cup cars, Next Gen Cup cars, in their manufacturer's department? I kind of looked at it as yes and no. I only noticed slightly a difference when it came to the wind connection and the way the car came off the track here with the Fords versus the Chevrolets. I did not try the Camrys because to me the Fords seemed like they were a little bit more stable, a little bit more relaxed, but they also did not have as much speed as well. So I think it kind of goes either way really with those. I didn't really feel much of a difference, if any, though, because really these cars and this track kind of all evens out. So I wish I could tell you guys that there is a true difference and that these things are truly designed to be the next-gen versions where you actually want to set them up via how the stock cars are, but in this case, I cannot be the encompassing guy for that one. Here they come now. Then we're going to run off to the final edge of this one. Competition caution coming up. Firing them off in the distance through turn 1 and 2. Still anybody's guess who's going to get the runoff here. Still a lot of momentum coming through the corners and coming through the speeds here. Again, I believe we're going to have 2 more laps here before competition caution is thrown. Remember, lap 30 is the competition caution. I believe with all those wrecks, so they want to try to get as much of these guys as they can here. I guess best way to know when we know for sure that caution comes out is these guys are going to get extremely aggressive on the last bit. We'll know that much. Johnny Barker looking to do the unthinkable here, going for a run on the outside, trying to push his limits and push something to its fullest. Did not get a runoff though. Trying to drive back down in, but he's kind of found himself in a little bit of a rock and a hard place. Josh Bromfield defending the bottom. Charging ahead though, trying to get something going here. Bromfield trying to gain back up there with Garland. Maybe make a look for a runoff here. Again, these drivers are being left high and dry. If you try to go the outside right now, there's nothing to gain. I think they know that all too well right now. Anthony Garland, your race leader, currently holding down the fort, hailing down the pack. Family member Wayne Garland, though, doing pretty much what he needs to here. Up on the outside now. Look at this. Got 4 cars trying to muscle and maneuver around. Bathke in the 27. John Humphrey in the 4. And then that 61 of Keith Fonseca, who actually, unfortunately, lapped down at the moment. Suffered that horrible crash and caution. Ended up putting him into pit road because of a towing situation. Couldn't really do much about that. There really isn't anything you can do in that case. Wayne Garland now looking to gain ground, making some moves off to catch up with family member Anthony Garland. Benton, though, right up ahead, making this work just a little bit more. Looks like he might try to slingshot it on the outside if he can go for it. Not sure if that will work out the way he wants it to, but you certainly know he'll do it. Down across the front straightaway here, though, Anthony Garland with a solid performance and a solid race in brief will get the competition caution his way. And that's exactly the way it goes. So the competition caution has flown out, and the winner there will be Anthony Garland. Now the question remains, does he have what it takes? Does he have the momentum to strike it big and strike it hard? There is certainly a lot more racing to go, though, here on PTM Racing TV. When we come back, exclusively live here on PTM Racing TV YouTube channel, it's time for the big shootout, the final laps at Talladega Superspeedway for the Yellow Hammer 80. Stay tuned with us here for the Joe Sixpack Racing League. Well, tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, is presented in part by Joe Sixpack Podcast. What do you got? Well, with the Joe Sixpack Podcast, what do you get? You get weekly update on league news, standings, previews of upcoming races, also interviews with admins, broadcasters, painters, league owners, social media managers from the sim racing world. There is no better place to get your info than with Joe Sixpack Podcast. So as drivers currently get settled back down, things will calm down a slight bit here. Now, I think what they think are going to focus really highly on here is going to be the endurance level now they're going to have to suffer through, because again, they are fighting currently with the tires, the cars, as well as long-term strategy versus long-term use, which that's much easier said than done. But when they can figure it out, they will certainly put everything in their breadbasket and make it work to the very, very end. The question, though, is can they make it go that long? Because again, we've noticed as well, these drivers, they love to get aggressive, and they have no qualms about doing that. So right now the field getting stretched back into position here, looking for their little runoff, little cut time, if you will. Going to be interesting to see just who maintained their distance and maintained their boundaries. Now we do know one thing, that they'll have to go into pit road at least once in this case for a pit stop. Despite the fact that they have quite a few laps in those cars to work with, 60% of fuel is not nearly enough to work around this track for that kind of speed and run distance. So that makes you wonder, as we're about ready to reach halfway point, you know, who is going to do what and what are they going to plan on doing? Because I will say that if they start to separate the packs out, they do run the risk of not only losing ground and time, but also they find themselves in kind of a gnarly little place. There's a lot of openings you can get, and there's a lot of chances that can happen if you go too far back and end up falling laps down. This isn't the old 80s and 70s where we used to just be able to just drive these things into the ground and just drive and just literally give ourselves a little bit of momentum and a little check or two with all the speed we carried. No, this isn't. This is not that kind of stuff, guys. Believe me, I wish we could still in some ways, but in other ways, I'm kind of glad we don't. So I'm not gonna lie there. But here we go. Double file them up. We're getting back to the restart. So our driver is now going to line up the corners and up the stretches here. And everyone will get filed down into the track and ready to go at it once again. You can tell again that glaring issue for Anthony Garland. He's got to be careful and very, very aware of that little trouble he's having down there. It could be a hardware malfunction, could be a little function going on with his system there, but nevertheless, it is a very, very scary thought to have to endure when you got a kind of a runoff like these guys are getting right now. This could be very treacherous in that restart zone, so they need to be careful about the long-term ramifications of this. Here we go, onto the restart zone, refire them off and get them set to run. We're going back to the action. The Joe Six-Pack Racing League is looking to do just that and then some, and hopefully find ourselves a possible candidate for the winner of this whole shindig, this whole shebang. So as the field works their way around currently, now you can see drivers already kind of forming into those packs, if you will, trying to figure out their strategies and their mentalities. Some either wanting to make moves and make ways up to the front. Some want to just kind of keep themselves out of trouble and save up on the fuel. And then the rest, well, they have their choice. They either can go big or go home. That's really their only ideals. If I was these guys right now, currently I'm seeing this. I'm trying to see two packs right now. The ones that currently are having to deal with the guys like Darrell Wells and that 5045, as well as that 71 of John Lamarga here. What they're trying to do is they're trying to gain some ground and gain some clearance on positions and spots, while others, which is basically that pack you see of the number 6 here, Johnny Barker, he's kind of giving himself a distance or two, but he's waiting it out for a long run move on these guys and looking to maybe take something away from him. Coming out the corners here, Anthony Garland here, right ahead there of Joshua Benton. Benton, though, if I had to put my money on anyone, well, he is kind of a betting man, if you will, but if I had to put my money on anyone, it'd probably maybe either him or Josh Bromfield, because those guys tonight have been pretty much locked in and loaded on their controls and on their situations. They have yet to really give any mistakes out, really look at any situation in the wrong way. They've been very consistent, very powering over their runs and keeping a close eye on the distances and travels gained. Yeah, on board camera here, John Humphrey. Yes, I'm not lying when I said I put a lot of cameras in different places, folks. I told you guys at home we would switch these cameras out and we'd put some new things in for you. You guys ask for them. You want something new every time. Well, we try to work as well as we can on these circuits and these stuff. Make every broadcast seem different. Distances traveled and distances gained. Look at Greg Drace up top side, trying to stay away from the field behind him. And you can see the whole pack just kind of coming off of his corners and off his clutches here. He's trying to stay on the top side and stay away from them, of course, but I think the biggest thing that's going to tell the tale for him later is can he get that lap back in case of a caution comes out or something like that happens. He'll certainly need it and a bit of help here to kind of resume his normal procedures, his normal runoff cornering. There's so much travel and so much gain here for a lot of these guys. They're looking to give anything they got and then some. We're on board here with Gary Wright, which right now Gary Wright is your second of the hard chargers of the night so far, of the day I should say here. And I don't know why I always say night. Maybe I'm thinking like later tonight where we have a little extra racing coming our way, but that's not the point right now. The onboard camera, though, just shows he's starting to lose a little bit of distance between him and Debbie Hutchins here, as Chris Fathke and Greg Drace kind of halter right behind. Drace bringing it back up there with the field. Keeping off the corners, keeping off the runs. Man, these guys just trying to hang on and keep distances with champ and keep their chances alive. They don't want to lose too much ground, but at the same time, you gotta wonder as a driver, you know, how many laps can you go before you're just like, can we start making moves? Or can I like start pushing some things around, maybe push some of these guys to their limit? That's kind of the hard part about doing this is you want to push it, you want to drive as hard as you can, but without any help, you're pretty much in no man's land. Bringing him off the corners here, and yet again, John Humphrey, he's still, I mean, give him credit where credit's due. He's still trying to get something to work on the outside. Fafke's going to follow in pursuit, try to do one off him as well. Does not play out the way he was hoping for, though. Whoa, 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 we got a little trouble down there, Kern 1. Problems for the 71 of John Lamarga, as well as a big wreck right ahead. Darrell Wells and Robert Tuisco involved in this one. Kind of had a corner off for a minute, kind of watched something else for just a second here in the background. Was not expecting this whatsoever. Let's take a look at the PTM Instant Replay. We're going to take a look at this here. See what transpired. David Lamarga, it looks like maybe Fafke getting involved in it. Darrell Wells here. Oh! And Lamarga definitely driving up slightly here. Get himself out of trouble. Everyone else trying to avoid. You see the 61 kind of getting himself into that no man's land, if you will. And Darrell Wells definitely, I would say, probably got the worst end of the stick here. Just took a huge lick there, and this is where, that's the scariest part right there, is just seeing a car coming flying right at you and just thinking, am I going to get out of this one okay? Am I going to get out of this one safe? You don't even think about it for a second. You just kind of let everything kind of take into the, you just kind of take yourself out of that frame and just whatever happens, happens at that point. That's how I've always been on these play tracks. Because once you know the wreck happens, it's like you just got to take the wheel and grip it hard for the avoid wreckage, or you just got to try and hope for the best. This is what it's talking about here. This is avoiding it, but this is what just not seeing where Darrell Wells was, and bad luck just strikes hard for Tuisco here tonight. Hasn't been able to catch a break whatsoever at all on this track, and just been constantly litigated to just madness and destruction all around him. What a tough break there for him and the crew, but looks like everyone will go into pit road, so he'll have himself at least an instant repair to use up. Now, this is regarding if he has not used that instant repair up already. I do not know if he actually has or not. Well, I saw one car, well, last time we saw a car with only no hood and nothing going on there. It was at Auto Club Speedway Thursday night. And believe it or not, it actually hanged with the entire field for literally up to the final laps. Where a restart is, kind of just completely overturned everything. Let's see if Tuisco has an instant repair done, although I think he's not too happy with some of the guys out there. No, I do not think he has instant repair whatsoever. He's going to have to just damage up the car and get it cleaned up if he can. I don't know if it's possible, though, to put a new hood on that thing and damage the sides up quickly as he wants to. He's going to try it, though. You can see the car's getting damaged out and bent up a little bit. We'll have to come back out and check him out a little later on, see if he has got that car dialed in for one last chance restart. Field will bring their way around the track and get things figured up again. Past halfway point, so at this point, barring any madness there around, or thankfully no rain. I looked at the skies, the forecast today, folks. I swear here in Alabama that is nice and clear the whole day. We are not looking at rain, so do not worry. We do not have a rain-shortened race coming at us. Trust me there, I was keeping a close eye on that one. So it's a clear day all around, beautiful skies. Obviously, the clouds barely fuzzing over here. There's nothing really to worry about on that end. So driver's currently just getting stretched around back onto this field. So as we kind of wrap things up around here at Talladega Superspeedway, remember also here tonight, folks, on PTM Racing TV, back on our Facebook Live, and anyway, we will have Pedal to the Metal Racing League return to the show, and they will head down to Pocono Raceway at the Tricky Triangle awaits. And it will certainly be a very hard to master kind of situational track there. Remember also, we've seen Joe Sixpack Racing League down there racing earlier on when we were investing and watching these shows. They were putting on some great battles and some great runs there, and we certainly can catch more of it in the near future, but will we get to see more of it? That remains to be the question. But of course, with a question, there's always got to be an answer somewhere around here, so we'll see if that is going to play out as our field works our way around out of corner 4. We will reel him off into the restart zone. Anthony Garland, maybe testing some patience here. I think he's waiting for some of these guys to get going with him. Ben gonna try to get up there with him onto the restart zone. They'll bring him back around, back into town, and it's time to go racing once again. Looks like John Humphrey wasn't taking nothing there from Chris Fathke. He really tried to block him down there and try to cave him in. He said, "No, sir, you're not getting this one from me that easily." Makes his move, makes his target, and makes his presence felt. They'll run him off into the corners, and don't worry, folks. We know the sky's turning a little darker around here. Don't worry. It's just literally the night lighting from the sky kind of coming off here. That's what happens when the sun blocks out the rays. Those clouds do a number on these here in sun and weather here, and that's one thing we gotta absolutely love about this iRacing stuff is you can just see the weather transformations and everything transform over time, and the slightest little differences just make the biggest difference when it comes to control and speed from there on out. Rob Lowell, the 21 Ford Mustang right now. We haven't been on board with him all day, but he has currently been keeping a close eye on that top half. He's currently 11 spots up into 8th place. Started back in the very worst end of the field, 19th, and has pretty much marked his territory and marched his way around the field. Johnny Barker, the only other one that's even close to his standards. Oh, as I say that, look out down there. He's got to slow down badly, and they're going to slow down even worse than usual. Darrell Wells Spinning them on out a little bit. Everyone else coming to a dead stop for, looks like, Gary Wright, the 80. Whoa, boy. That one got a little bit heated there. I don't know where the braking came from or how bad that was, but unfortunately, it ended up slowing everybody down pretty badly here. Take a look at it here from our PTM Instant Replay and see what transpired exactly. Looked like everyone was gaining up, and looks like I slowed down badly here. I think that may have been to try to warrant some control over the cars or whatnot, but can't quite really tell from that angle. Looked like maybe one of the guys up front just kind of had to slam the brakes because they were getting a little too close. Remember those turning steering wheels do not exactly turn in very well or smooth. They are very not seem kind of stiff is the way I was kind of told. And stuff like this can happen easily where you just kind of find yourself in the worst predicament, the worst situation. The 90 found himself in that and then some. So unfortunately, it ends up kind of playing out to be the wrong bad deal for some of these guys. We'll take a look right up front though when this transpired, see who stopped. And looking at it this way, I think it might have been John Humphrey actually that slowed down the worst of the end there. I think he had a good runoff coming up and ended up just kind of catching it just wrong there. Now, I'm not saying by any means that he meant to do that. Far from it. If anything, he was just trying to save it from getting himself into any more trouble. And unfortunately, the guys could not slow down enough again because they were having to stay close in that pack just to kind of stay within a feasible line to run off of. Oh boy. Well, they will get him reeled in once more and things will get back to normal as always. So our drivers will now kind of reel the chains back, kind of slow up a little bit here, maybe figure out what they're going to do from this point on. Hopefully things get a little bit more under control, kind of a little bit more clear as day. So much emotion is going through the drivers right now. A lot of things to be thinking about. Really, it all boils down to just maintaining control and consistency, in my opinion. Because again, having to work off each other and having to work with the close gaps, close packs, like even more so than usual. Because the way these cars are set and designed up to be, they can just really mess your game up and really mess your mindsets. But they do make for some extremely tough racing and extremely tough rides here. In reality, though, it all boils down to how you like to play it in and how you like to fight it out with. So right now, I feel like they're going to work their way in through the track and into the zone. And now once again have to deal with Anthony Garland as your race leader. He's been pretty much that leader the entire time here, folks. He's been doing a great job keeping everybody clear, cut, and away from that position and from his, in his mind, perfection racing. It certainly has been a solid state and a solid momentum boost here. Well, here we go now. Coming back off the start, back onto the gun here. We still have quite a few laps remaining here. Still plenty of time to make some moves. So right out of the gate here, some drivers kind of faltering back really badly here because of the damage done up onto their cars or up onto the stands here. Maybe also trying to stay away from trouble and maybe trying to evade any more wrecks, if you will. Joshua Ben lined back up there with Garland. Garland may be in a little bit of a bind, a little bit of a pickle, if you will. I say that because, unfortunately for him and his crew, he's having to work with not only the struggles of dealing with people right behind him, but also dealing with the added pressure of somebody maybe trying to get ahead of him or trying to knock him out of the way. If I was Ben right now, my first thought is that if he blinks out across the line there, I might actually have a chance to win this one out. I don't even think he wants to think that mindset, but you know, in the back of your mind, it's always something you're thinking about, the slightest bit. Josh Brownfield right behind Anthony Wayne Garland right now, trying to figure out some momentum, trying to figure out some boost here. We know Joshua Bennett and him have been working well tonight with the same kind of car design. The same kind of look, obviously a little bit of a teammate style background on them. Definitely makes for a good intertwining reality when it comes to running a Talladega Superspeedway when they really need it to work in their favor and their chances here. $750 horsepower, turbocharged cubic inches of these things. Obviously running as much of that 700 horsepower out on the track here tonight, or here today at Talladega. Yeah, kind of look at that gated one of Anthony Garland to the Plan B sales Chevrolet Camaro. One thing that kind of notifies me a little bit is it does kind of look very similar to what Joey Logano's 22 looked here back in, I believe it was earlier April, I believe is when they were running out there with these cars. It was either April or May, I believe it was either around that time, but I remember distinctly looking at that car as it had kind of pretty much get sent to the shadow realm, if you will, later on in the race. Thankfully, of course, Logano was okay and all safety requirements being put to good use, but it's just kind of eerie to me seeing that 81 up in the race lead when we didn't see it all too much then and there, but kind of the design and all that maybe just playing into my mind. I don't know. The onboard camera here with the 27 Chris Batsky got passed in there by Rob Lowell. Looks like Lowell pretty much found himself a little bit of an opening to shoot around from. Does happen quite a bit here when it comes to their chances, their kind of their runs off. Down to the final though, 25 laps at Talladega. 25 laps here is no gimme though, folks. You've got to stay clear and stay focused on your long-term academics as well as your aerodynamics of the car. Fuel could come into question if they're not careful. Meanwhile, in the back, very far back, Debbie Hutchins trying to lead her troops, lead the charge in, saving a little bit of fuel, saving a little bit of time. And the biggest thing here is if they get a good run off, a good charge here, they could possibly think about going straight to the outside and make a run for it. We've seen it before where that works extremely well in Xfinity and trucks, but here this is the complete opposite. You're gonna basically keep them up or closer than anything, and if someone falls back or falls out of line, then you can take advantage of it, but it's not the best way to do it here. "24 laps remain. And the series starting to just kind of dwindle in more and get a little bit closer together. Gaps are dwindling down and the speeds are getting up even higher to the field, of course. Remember, it had times up to 216 miles per hour led. Right now, that time by from some of these drivers, speeds of upwards of 208. It's about 205 to 208, average being about 202. They are gaining a lot of ground. They're starting to get very hard and very chargy, if you will, with those runs. You gotta keep yourself under control, keep yourself in that patient zone though, because again, those tires and those corners of the turnings anyway are truly going to be a benefactor and be a bit of a difference. You just don't want to get too hard in the draft. The next thing you know, try to turn it off into turn 1 or 2. That car just swinging straight right or left. That's the last thing you want to hit up. About 21 laps will remain here this next time by, and still Anthony Garland is your race leader and just commanding this lead and commanding all those that oppose him and his crew. It's just thoroughly impressive to me. He's just been in this lead and in the spots for so long. He's really yet to find himself in a bad place or in a bad lane. He's just kind of under control, stabilized through the corners, through the runs offs. Hasn't really been in trouble, and again, I would just say, if anything, maybe the only thing bad-wise I can think of is it has not exactly showed that he can hold off for the entire race. But then again, no one really can, because really here at Talladega, no matter how many laps you go, it's the last 10, those last 5 that truly bring out either the best or the worst in all of us. Well, Debbie was able to read the troops back up to the field here, but Darrell Wells and all those other guys right now, they're currently getting around our only female here tonight. Debbie did a great job, though. Give her credit where credit's due, man. She pushed everybody up to the front, pushed them into position to do what they did, but it is still going to put them into a bit of a bad angle and a bad wrap here. Firing him off, John Humphrey. He's had a 9.5. That's for certain. He's been part of some major wrecks and major issues. David Lamaga was certainly one of them as well. I ended up finding himself in there between him quite a few times. Robert Tuisku, the same thing. David Lamaga, though, unfortunately, even though he's a points leader right now, he is going to have himself a bad day when it comes to that points race. And the points race right now is starting to get a little bit tightened up. I don't have all the points on me right now on hand, but I can tell you right now, currently, the way the system and format works, he'll be getting pretty much the leaser of the mount. And he did not lead any laps, so that really hurts his opportunity, it hurts his chances to make a move off, make a run here. With only about 3 races left, he's going to have to pretty much defend that top spot for a good chunk of the next race. Because Anthony Garland right now, he's making up a lot of points and a lot of ground just by leading these laps and continuing to bolster the momentum. Still stringing along with about 18 laps left here to go, and now the time has come. Time to head to pit road, my friends. And a whole lot of them, including your race leader, the 81, goes in for that. Everyone behind him managing to stay out of trouble. We'll go looking back up to the front here, where we see the rest of our field kind of moving up with the chains. I just got to stay out of trouble here. That could easily happen with this case. You got a lot of guys moving around a little bit, getting a little bit close cornered. A little closer than they made once. Oh my! John Lamarga managing to stay out of that runoff there. That was almost no man's land he threw himself into, but stayed away from Darrell Wells. Darrell nearly getting a piece of him and then some here. John Lamarga and Mike Killenbeck getting a good run off here, taking over position, taking it away there from the field. Chris Fathke and Debbie Hutchins have headed into pit road here, so they'll try and hopefully find themselves in the eager position to get back out on track and back into a runoff here. Chances are starting to slim down. They're getting a little bit more daring if you want to make a long-term run work here. Now you're probably wondering, okay, why are they staying out as long as they are? Why wouldn't they just go into pit road when everyone else went into pit road? Well, remember, again, it's extremely hard to pass around here and it's extremely difficult to make moves off of here. So what they're doing right now is they're trying to burn laps up. They're trying to burn the tires up a little less than usual, obviously, but they're really worrying about is the fuel. The tires don't really matter here. The fuel is what matters. And in essence, what they're trying to do is they want to tell their pit crews, their crew chiefs, when we come into pit road, if we all work together here, we only take so much, we can get these cars back out on the track before we run into the added problem of Anthony Garland, Josh Bromfield, and everybody behind him. Even Chris Fathke, his pit road stop ended up putting him back into the top 9 spots, which again, if those guys up ahead go into pit road and pit stop, that may actually be a bit of a saving grace for them and their crew. It's pretty impressive, though, just to see how well these guys have been playing this one all day long. They've been making sure they hang on with the best of them, hang on with the best of intentions, and stay focused on the prize at hand. Not worrying about the short-term effects, the long-term effects, nothing. They've just been worried about one thing: go out and race, go out and drive, do what you need to do if it means winning. And just like that, Mike Gillenbeck, John Lomaga, Darrell Wells, Rob Lowe, they head on into pit road. And Brian Wojcik is going to now reclaim the race lead. He's a new leader in that number 9 and the hard charger of the night with 17 spots gained. Started 18th. He's now in the number 1 spot, but Gary Wright right behind him. He's been in kind of no man's land all day long and been found himself in the worst ends and the worst timing. You wonder when they'll have to head into pit road, but again, with how many laps are kind of bolstering down, they're coming very, very close. Just kind of finishing this out with the tough contentions, but I would not make this move right now, Gary. This might not be the time to do it. He's going to go to the outside, try to make a pass around Brian. It's not getting him anywhere, though. He's not getting any speeds. The biggest problem I have with this is, again, you're having to deal with the added pressure of 32 seconds only ahead of Anthony Garland, and even the rest of that pack line up there, Bromfield, Fafke, Wayne Garland, Joshua Benton, and John Humphrey catching up to you and just making you work for this. I'm not sure I really necessarily agree with that strategy here. I think I've been a bad call there to try to make moves off too soon, too early. Just let the track come to you and focus on just trying to conserve the fuel if you're going to go for that extreme long run. It's very possible here, and I think that's exactly what they're going to go for, but I just don't see it working. I really do not. I just cannot see that being a feasible option in a real-time strategy here. With how extremely aggressive and how tough this has been all day long for these drivers. Wayne Garland right now trying to rally troops up a little bit. Joshua Benton right behind him here trying to gain some ground up. Hopefully to catch up there with Chris Fafke and Bromfield. But right now Anthony Garland, currently the former race leader, is trying to hunt down our lone Canadian in the lead, Brian Wojcik. Wojcik is going for extreme long run distance here, but he's going to have to go it alone. Gary Wright runs out of fuel. Wojcik is the only one left, and he's using Debbie Hutchins right now as a little bit of a brigade to not have to go full throttle around the track, but still keep his speed intact. That could be a bit of a gallop. That could be a gain in an opening there for him. Bromfield is definitely going to be paying close attention to what the spotter is saying when it comes to the distance and travel gain. 10 laps remain. This is what it all boils down to. How much did you save versus how much can you get? The last thing anybody wants to think about right now is that big yellow flag flying in the air for any reason or anything like that. They don't want nothing to do with it. They just want to finish the race and see where this one all lies in. On board there with Mike Gillenbeck, and if you're wondering, yes, I believe that is the Evil Knievel suit there that he was kind of rocking. Not a bad look there for his design there. Got to give him credit for that. That's pretty cool looking. Anthony Garland trying to hang in there, trying to keep up distance and ground. You can see the move on the inside there. Johnny Barker had a great run earlier, but his unfortunate timing and strategies did not play out the way he was hoping for. Only about a 23-second gap between Brian Wojcik and Anthony Garland. Garland moving into the second place spot. Bromfield's probably paying close attention to those laps as well. He knows if he wants to make one more move, he may have to do it on the final lap on the final corner, turn 4. Remember, that finish line is not where the flag stand is. That is not in the middle like you see at Daytona. And Brian Wojcik has finally admitted defeat, goes into pit road, enters the fuel run. Now this becomes a show between Anthony and Bromfield. Chris Fafke will be in that chance and realm of possibility as well. There is anybody up for grabs to win it. But have they got enough left in the fuel tank and enough left in the track to survive the rest of this race? My, oh my, oh my, has this completely changed the playing field and changed out the progression. And in the middle of it all, they're even as well. the middle of it all, I was just about to say before my mic got cut out there, Keith Fonseca, pretty much the last remnant of last week's racing series when it comes to the little tribute to the troops, if you will. There is still a little bit of a helping hand though from him and his crew, obviously helping Bromfield and Fathke kind of stay entwined and in close together, in proximity, if you will, of making moves left and right. When we get to about that final 5 laps to go, I guarantee you Bromfield will start to think very carefully about what he's going to do. If I've had a guess, though, he is going to go for the run on the outside. I think that is his goal. I think he's keeping a close eye on that 81 there. He knows that the Camry has been pretty much dead set, dead on this entire time, but that Ford Mustang's still pushing its limits, pushing itself to full use. How about this once again? I don't know how many times we're going to do this, but we got a Toyota, Ford, and Chevrolet finish up a Bruin, and right behind them, Toyota, Ford, and Chevrolet right below them. How about that? All three manufacturers represented very well in their playing field and even their zone. Next time by, only 5 laps remain. The top 3 will be interviewed with us here in PTM Racing TV studio in just a little bit, but right now we need to figure out who they will be. Someone will win the Yellow Hammer 80 at Talladega Superspeedway though here in just a minute. Which one could it be though? That remains to be unanswered, because even then Bromfield has still knowing very well that if he makes one run move, it could be game over, whereas Garland, he knows if he messes up anything, he will lose everything in its entirety. And just now realizing it now, Fathke's design on his car is about the ICP, the Insane Clown Policy. I didn't even think about that. I thought that clown stuff looked kind of familiar. I think he's trying to play a little magic, ninjas what? Magic, ninjas what? Around these guys, if he can find a way around them, that is. I think actually he's got to try to magic ninja these guys are off the corners. I don't even think he can do that. I don't even think he can do that in real life, much less in a sim. And no, for the record, I do not listen to ICP. I've never once. I just know that one song just because I'm a friend of mine, for the record, folks. Sorry, Fathke, but I'm just being honest, man. Anyway, 4 laps to go. Bromfield looking for anything, any opportunity, any chance he can get. Hoping and praying for something, some kind of opening, some kind of chance. Garland not giving him anything up though. Been dead focused, red hot, perfect strategy, perfect runs, and perfect maneuvers. And using the cautions to his advantage when he had to, and making sure he stays up to date. Has been his mindset, has been his goal, and it's now led up to this big moment. 3 laps remain. Will Bromfield try to now engage with Garland? Look at him start to drive in a little closer here. He's got Fonseca right behind him. Garland is probably watching himself very closely here. He knows that that blinking is not a good sign. That's not what he wants to deal with now. He's hoping and praying it just holds up just a little longer. He doesn't want to give it out at all, man. You don't want to give in. Don't give out. Fonseca goes to the outside. He's going to try and stay out of the leader's way and let them race their race. Good move and good sportsmanship by him. Fathke will do what he has to. Setting up for the run. Setting up for the momentum boost. Look at the 61 of Fonseca. He's going to go right behind Fathke. Maybe try to draft off him to help him push up. Ladies and gentlemen, this time by, green flag goes high in the air because there is going to trade him in for the white flag the next go around. 2 remain at Talladega. Garland trying to hold off Bromfield in his momentum boost. So much at stake, so much on the line. A victory and a chance at possibly a season championship stake. Time slowly running out. Opportunities are fading away as they go. Which one will it be to the end of the line? We're going to lead him down out of corner 3, down into turn 4. Look at Garland. He's trying to stay out of trouble, trying to keep himself under control. The nerves maybe kicking up a little bit. Fatke knows he's got to start pushing a little harder. Brumfield looking like he might have to go to the outside here. He's going to go for it. No, he backs it down there. Looks like he was trying to get out of the way of David Lomaga's way. Here we go. White flag is out this time by. Oh, wait a minute. Yellow coming out right before we get to the line. We got trouble. Rob Lowe has wrecked at a turn 4. Wayne Dewey involved in this one too. Rob Lowe getting a worse end of the stick here, but Wayne Dewey, the 11, crashing it in, and what a horrible time for the caution to come out literally inches before the white flag comes out. My, oh my, now that's going to regroup everybody. And they only get 2 green-white checkers, so they better not mess this up. Let's take a look at what happened, though. It's hard to really say truly what happened or transpired here. We were not even paying attention to this battle here. Let's watch the 11 here. Looks like he gets caught up with the 21. Just that slight tap. Brought it back in. He reels it up, but he just clips the 21. And next thing you know, oh my goodness. And that hard driving style and tough to control nature of these cars comes into question and comes back into the realm of possibility. Right there is that slight little hit. Dewey manages to straighten it back out and get it saved up. But unfortunately, the 21 there, Rob Lowe, was not able to do the same. And got everybody all corkscrewed and in a bad spot, to say the least here. One more look at it from our drone cam here. Right off the corners, right off the edge, and this is a bad spot. And then right there, man, that big tap and a half, and I got the G-Stone 21 spinning sideways, left and right for a horrible wreck, unfortunately. Wow. Well, we are going to go commercial free for this restart here. We are not going to commercial. We're going to let these drivers think and sit it out and think about this one. Anthony Garland had pretty much everything locked up and had a chance really to get away from the field up until that last little section there. And that could be a dangerous spot there. Nerves are going to start kicking in, and drivers are very well aware what is about to transpire. The moments arise and the strengthening comes forward. Time running out. And chances becoming very much less and less here. anyone's still searching for a W and a victory here. This is it. The pace lights are off. The drivers are ready. 2 green-white checkered attempts are coming up here for the Joe Six-Pack Racing League and their next-gen series with the yellow hammer 80 on the line. Looked like we were going to go to the white flag. Instead, we went to the yellow. Now this leaves them with one last chance, one golden opportunity to either hit it big or strike it hard. And a win certainly is of the mindset that they want to do. I've got a bad feeling though on this restart. Man, a lot of these guys could get very hard on that throttle. The anticipation starting to kill them over a little bit. This restart whole shot zone is going to be the saving grace, if you will, for Garland. He has not been put in the spot here where he had to literally jump off the start quicker than anything. He had to pretty much kind of get himself ahead of everyone and go forward from there. This is a moment of weakness and struggling now. And here we go. They have waited for this moment. They waited for this time. With 2 laps to go, can they finish it big? Here we go. Oh, look at Anthony. He went straight to the outside, had to block him off and said, no way, Jose. Did he have enough runoff, though? Did he get enough speed and advantage off that corner, off that stretch? These drivers are going to give it everything they can to make him work for it, make him think about it just a little bit. For the first time tonight, it looked like we had a possible 3-white salute coming up from the backs and in the zone. Everyone moving the chains, moving the charge up. If they get to the white flag, oh no, they're not going to get it this time though. There's a crash, big time. John Humphrey crashing in out of turn 3 and 4. Gets in there with, unfortunately, looks like unfortunately, I can't quite tell. Darrell Wells is involved. I think David Lomaga got clipped in there. John Lomaga, there he is. Yep, he got in there. And they will get one last opportunity and chance here to go big or go home for this one. Let's take a look at the replay here, and unfortunately what transpired here in those circumstances. Looked like Humphrey was trying to push his way up. He got into it there a little bit. Benton had to back off. Watch John Lomaga. It's a little too close for his own good. Finds himself on the receiving end there and had nowhere to go out of, unfortunately. And that's kind of that area that we have always talked about. You don't want to get caught into. Humphrey gains on it. Look at this. Logger gets a good jump and just pushes him way too far up and into him. Just way too close and way too much. And Humphrey just calling it a day and a half there. He was not having it with it. One more look at it from this angle here. We'll show every little detail here. Just gives you a perspective of how close these things get and how dangerous they get when you get into this kind of predicament. Right there, you see the wreck. There it happens right off, and just gives you a good idea just how close it was. Fonseca, you can see he gets a good lick and a half there. Excuse me. If I had to give Humphrey a little credit, though, at least he got a pretty good little pattern there going into the grassy plains. Although I think the lawn care service industry has been kind of seized up by a lot of folks around here, at least on PTM Racing TV over the years. So, and I can't believe I'm saying over the years. It's literally, we've literally done this for almost 2 years now, and it's kind of crazy to me how far this has even come. So for those, again, thank you so much. We love and appreciate every single one of you for that. I know you probably get tired of me saying it, but I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. But here's one little shocker we got to kind of detail around. Anthony Garland, for the first time tonight, has lost the racing lead to Josh Bromfield. Bromfield has gotten the racing lead from him in a natural substance, and I'm not talking from pit stops and all that, but the lead now is going to put Garland into a spot he has not been in all day long, and there's only a green-white checkered attempt left. They have nothing left they can get off or go for. Garland knows if he wants to win this, he's going to have to put everything into the breadbasket and then some to win it out. There is so much at stake and so much on the line. He knows if he does not win this, his championship hopes could be coming to an end. David Lamaga was running hard up there and trying to get back into this, but unfortunately he had pretty much found himself in a bit of a pickle once again here. And now that kind of wheels and deals ourselves into this big moment here. So here it is, last green white checkered attempt, double file them up. And I'm not going to say anything, but there is one number 9 of Brian Wojcik that has kind of sneakily sneaked his way back in it, as much as Greg Drace and that 64 has as well. There could be a spoiler coming up ahead for any of these guys if they can get up ahead, if they can get a charge up. But again, Bromfield, he knows on this restart he's going to have to do everything he can to stay ahead of Garland, because we know Garland will sneak it, will run hard on the outside if he has to and get everything he's got. There is only one way around it, and that's to get to the bottom, like you saw with him doing it earlier on. He got up top and then went to the bottom quickly. Bromfield knows what the strategy is that Garland will put to use, but does he have enough time to defend him off from it? I think we may need to change the Yellow Hammer 80 to the Yellow Hammer 90 at this point, because that's about how many laps we're going to have left here in this on this final restart. Time to let it go or let it flow. They will reel them off to the front end of the tri-oval section here of Talladega Superspeedway. This D-shaped tri-oval configuration track has tamed the best and has saw the best, but will it beat out the best again? We are about to find out as they reel them down onto the front straightaway here. They are coming for it all. They're going big or they're going broke. One thing's for sure. Someone's winning this one out. Here we go. Green flag restart is up for grabs, and we're off and running again. Look at Garland on the outside. Got a great restart here, pushing his momentum up to the front. Down to the bottom he goes and gets ahead there of Bromfield. Killingbeck tried pushed him up into position, left high and dry though. Garland had nothing he could do. Bromfield's trying to get his way in there. They'll break him down on the back straightaway though. Chris Fathke gets caught off guard and sent to the shadow realm, and the yellow flies out. It's over. It is over. It doesn't matter what they do now. Anthony Garland is going to be your winner and the champion of the Yellow Hammer 80 at Talladega Superspeedway. That last lap pass gives him the W, and when he needed to most. And for Chris Fathke, really nothing but just sadness and defeat strikes him down from Talladega Superspeedway here. Garland is going to win it all. What a tough break for Chris Fathke. Let's take a look at the replay as they get ready to head down to the checkered flag here. Let's see what happened here. Might have just been a no man's land spot. May have found himself in the wrong place, the wrong time. Look at this, how close Killenbeck and Bromfield are. Fathke sees an opening, gets tangled in there with Killenbeck. Killenbeck says it's either me or you, and I'm definitely not taking it. Fathke had nothing he could do about it and ends up finding himself on the, oh my God, on the receiving end of that one. David Lamaga just took a huge chunk out of him there. I apologize for the kind of the scare there, but good Lord. Just a huge wreck to say the least, and a huge ending to it all. But for Anthony Garland, oh, wait a minute, is he going to run? I think he just ran out of fuel. I think he just ran out of fuel there. I'm pretty sure he's going to win it still. I think he's trying to get pushed up a little bit, trying to help himself out. I don't know if Bromfield's going to end up winning that one, but I think technically by default it was supposed to go to Garland there. Yeah, he has ran out of fuel, or the motor is completely gone in there. I'm pretty sure he ran out of fuel. I'm almost for certain it's supposed to go to I'm kind of confused now. I think because he ran out of fuel, that means Bromfield is going to end up taking the proverbial W here. I don't know. We'll see what the judges decide, but Ben's going to end up pushing him ahead. So, judging by results, Bromfield's got it. That's the unofficial results. I'm not really sure how they will judge this call here. The racing officials are going to have a little bit of work to do down here. If it was me, it goes off who got to the finish line and who got where at the end. Off a fuel run here, Anthony Garland, though, is pretty much out and about. Unofficial results say Bromfield, Benton, Drace, Brian Wojcik, Mike Killenbeck, Wayne Garland, Wayne Dewey, Keith Fonseca, Kerry Wright, and W. Hutchins in your top 10. I am honestly not for sure. We are going to definitely need to ask that one up because this one is kind of questionable, to say the least. I would usually pull up the race winner results, but again, I really am not sure how they're going to go about this one. We'll take a look at the race results though, and what they came up with. But I mean, in total, Bromfield is said to be the winner because he came across the line first. But is that, you know, is Wayne Garland going to get the W because, or Anthony Garland, excuse me, because the fact that he was the leader when time of caution came out? I'm not sure there, but they'll go the result size. You'll see Bromfield, Benton, Drace, Wojcik, Killenbeck, Garland, W, then Wayne Garland, excuse me, then Dewey, Fonseca, Wright, and Hutchins rounds out the top 10. Here are your other finishers here, and this definitely is going to shape. Either way, it's going to shape up the points wise because David Lamaga finished in a horrible spot that in total cost them a lot of points and a lot of ground here. Ends up kind of setting the pack into a bit of a frenzy here, if you will. Drivers are going to go around the track and finish this one out. Going to see the official results here. I'll be right back with you, folks. All right, well, real quick, while the officials get everything figured out around here, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to remind you here tonight that our good friends over at Joe Six Pack
I got all my
Podcast.
incidents right there at the end, trying to push you and Tony.
All right, so Joe Six, just real quick, guys. Again, sponsored in part by Joe Six Pack Podcast here tonight. So, weekly update on league news, standings, previews of upcoming races, also interviews with admins, broadcasters, painters, league owners, social media managers from the sim racing world. So, if you guys need to check out everything, check it out with Joe Six Pack Podcast. All right, so real quick, just gonna go ahead and we're gonna go through the results here. I guess we'll go ahead and talk with the number 12 here, our
Rob
driver.
Lowell had the fastest lap.
Talk with Bromfield here. Bromfield, you got a copy?
Oh, no, he didn't. That's his average.
It's crazy, man. I
Bromfield.
don't know what they're gonna do.
Josh, Bromfield, you got a copy, bud? I'm not sure they got a copy down here, folks. I don't know if they can hear us. Here, Josh, can you hear us now? Trying to alert the word here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was about to say I can't hear nothing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just go off the results here, but we're gonna we'll let Bromfield talk here about this one. So right now, anyway, unofficially wise, we have you down as the winner here at the Yellowhammer 80. But I gotta ask you, man, this is kind of came down to the wire, came down the line. It was a bit of a wild race here to the end. What really kind of happened there when you're coming across on that start and finish line there, sir?
Well, I wasn't going to quite make it there, and my teammate Benton gave me a little bump at the end. And of course, Anthony, my other teammate, he ran out of fuel a little bit earlier, but there was a lot of talk. Didn't know if because Anthony had thought that once the yellow come out that he was going to get the win. But all in all, it was just a great team effort. Benton, myself, Wayne, and Anthony sticking together the whole race, and the extra restart at the end. I think it put a lot of people in a fuel bind. So.
Yeah, it certainly did, and definitely kind of created a little bit of a mess, a little bit of a workaround here. But at the end of the day, obviously, kind of helped you and the team out and gave yourself a little bit of a chance to continue on and maybe have a little bit of a field day for that last bit of the races here. Of course, 3 races remain. So with all that in mind, is there anybody you want to thank here tonight for this finish?
I just want to thank all my teammates. We get together all week and work together, and I appreciate the effort that everybody puts in. And last year I was an independent driver, and they asked me to race with them, and it was the best thing that had happened to me. And also, I'd like to thank Greg for putting on this league. It's a good league, good group of guys, and usually a pretty good field out here. So.
I'm sure there. Well, nevertheless, Josh, big victory here as we haven't officially results-wise, but nevertheless, appreciate you coming on board. Congratulations on a win here, if that is the way they're going to make the call here, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Bromfield there, number 12, your winner here tonight. Unofficially, I'm just going to keep reminding, just so we are very well aware, but we do know second place unofficially as well. Joshua Benton has joined us in here now, the 69 driver, and Josh, you pretty much had yourself a field day and a half from start to finish. You were pretty much locked and loaded throughout this event, throughout this race, but when it came down to the very last bit, you kind of got passed in there from Anthony Garland. He kept blocking as much as he could, and you were working around it the whole time. How was it with the track here and the way this car was for you and the crew?
As far as Anthony Garland goes, man, I like I told him, this race was for him, and if I could have pushed him to the win, I would have loved to have got him there. We're a strong team. We, like Bromfield was saying, we practice together, we work together, we make sure that we're the best in the business, and that's how it is. I mean, we go out there and we don't expect to win, we expect to have fun. But if we can pull a win, rabbit out of the hat, we'll take it.
For sure there, man. It was definitely a lot going on, a lot playing into the field, into the track here tonight, but nevertheless, obviously, still, you're going to come away with a pretty good second-place finish and a strong showing from you and your crew. So is there anybody you want to thank here tonight for that?
I just want to thank my team. Again, I want to thank Greg. Without Greg, none of this would be possible. Definitely want to thank all of our sponsors. Definitely want to thank PTM Racing as well. Thought you guys, there's no broadcast, and with no broadcast, it's not as much fun. So
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, I do appreciate you coming on board, sir, and really appreciate your time. Congratulations on a second place finish here tonight at Talladega.
thanks, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Ben, the number 69 driver, your second place finisher here tonight. And now reeling and dealing from the back of the pack up to the third spot here. Give it up for Greg Drace here in that 64. And Greg, this was wild from start to finish. What they finished, we're still trying to figure out. But you were pretty much one of the only guys we watched constantly throughout this race, fighting your way up to the front, fighting your way through the field, and obviously coming up with the second hard charge of the night. Definitely got to be proud about that, sir. Greg, got a copy, sir? Hold on, folks. I think we might have some technical difficulties on our end here. I swear, though, it was not the glitchcraft for Gremlins this time. But don't worry about that, folks. We'll give him another minute here. See if maybe we can get him going here. If anything, maybe I might have to go chat with him on iRacing chat if we have to. All right, let's try it here. Greg, you got a copy? Nope, nothing there. That's one thing about live television, folks. You just never can be too sure. We'll give him one more chance, one more minute, if you will. Bromfield Ben, has he gotten a word with you guys at all, or?
Haven't heard anything
Heard
from him.
yet.
Okay. We'll give it 30 more seconds, then I'd probably get ready to cut the stream because we're hitting that time zone limit. So. I'm not really sure what's going on down there. I just can't really seem to figure it out myself. I think we're going to have to hit the time zone here, guys. I think we're going to have to just kind of call it quits here for the stream. So, well, nevertheless.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
sure.
sir.
Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, guys, Greg Drace is not able to get in touch with us here tonight, so we'll say congratulations to him and leave him with the third place finish here tonight. Race fans, from all of us here at PTM Racing TV, a big shout out again, of course, to Joe Sixpack Podcast for your support, as well as you fans at home. Thanks for tuning in. More racing to come your way here. Oh, wait, hold on. You got a copy. Heard some going. He's got some going there. Yeah, it's working. We can hear you, bud.
I had to jump in the other room there. Yeah, on lap 4, I got the worst thing you can get on iRacing is passing under a black flag on pit road when you can't see who's on the track, who you're passing. So yeah, I fought the rest of the race to get back up front. So it was a crazy finish. The finish will stand because Anthony was under the assumption that last yellow flag would also be the checkered, which it's not. And so he ran out of gas. Nobody pushed him across, so the finish will stand as is. There was an issue on the first green-white restart that somehow Josh Bromfield got put up front. Even he said he was ahead of Anthony. So if there was not a fuel issue, then Anthony might have won. But Anthony did run out of gas, so the finish is as is. And that's wow, I just finished third. That's my highest finish. I usually finished around 10th, and it took forever to get back up there, 70 laps to get back up front.
It certainly did indeed, but at the end of the day, obviously a big victory for you in your case when it comes to getting the positions back and really working your tail end off to get to this moment. So, Greg, as we sign off here tonight with you and the crew, man, is there anybody you want to thank you tonight for this incredible finish to the end?
Just everybody for coming out and showing up. Well, all 7 admins in the league. We got a lot we're working on. We're splitting up the leagues and doing a lot so that it can lighten my load to do more promoting and working on the Joe Sixpack podcast. So without the admins and everybody showing up every week, this has been our most successful season so far, putting the field out there, and our broadcasters and our occasional sponsors. But other than that, yeah, thank everybody that shows up every week, because it certainly makes the job working on it during the week worthwhile. And of course, thanks to PTM Racing for picking up for us.
Absolutely, man. We cannot wait to see you next season and the rest of the season from the end of the all. So, Greg, appreciate your time here tonight, man. Congratulations on the top 3. We'll see you next time out, bud.
Take care. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Drace, your third place finisher tonight, and now for sure we're signing off. So, race fans, we are going to tune in here later today. We're going to see in just about an hour and a half or so, we're going to see Pedal to the Metal Racing League at Pocono Raceway. So, stay tuned with us here on PTM Racing TV. For now, though, we thank and appreciate you for tuning in to the Yellow Hammer 80 at Talladega Superspeedway. Thank you so much. We'll